You guys see yourself expanding the trucking operation? Or continuing to grow, I guess?
I think right now is a holding pattern. Insurance is a severe problem. You know, they want 25-year-old kids with 5 years experience. Well, where do they get the experience from?
Yeah.
So I think we'd be more comfortable growing the owner-operator model. I think it works better. And this generation of drivers, they're not the same as the old school guys.
So we just left Torque and Sawyer's place with Barn Talk. Man, it was just an awesome show. So thankful that they allowed me to come on and talk. And then, man, we got to tour their farm, see their hog operation and their Farmer's Choice meat business, which is cool. But what's cool, on the way up the day before, we were driving up and started listening to some of their episodes. And we saw that one of their best episodes, it was from a truck owner named Jared Holmes. And I looked him up, and Jared was actually on BulkLoads for a while. So I sent him a text, and I said, hey, we're going to be up in the area. Would love to come by. And he said, yeah, come on over. So we're going to go see his operation. I know they run a very successful livestock trucking operation, and then he's also in the show cattle business. So we're going to go and hopefully get a tour from Jared and have him kind of show us around. But yeah, it's always, some of these visits, the goal was to come up here and visit the Barn Talk and get on their show and do an episode with them. But I'm always like, man, this is always a bonus when we can go and see some of these other ones. And especially if you go and listen to Jared's podcast on Barn Talk, it was just so well. So, man, would love to have him share some of that knowledge and wisdom that we can provide to our audience. So, yeah, we're going to go visit Jared's house and have him show us around. We're pretty excited.
So the show cattle ties into everything that we're doing. We only show females, and we take those and turn them into donor cows. So this is the new set of cattle that we're going to be showing this year. With any luck, we'll win a national show, which increases their value. That increases their value, and then we'll take them to a genetics center, and we'll pull all the embryos out of them, create eggs to sell to other people. So some people can't buy the $100,000 progeny, but they can buy the embryo to put in their own commercial cows to create the elite progeny.
So the family business, but are you in charge of a lot of this, or does your wife head this up? Or?
Yep. I kind of float and manage most of everything. I'm a floater, and then I'm a delegator. So my kids, they take care of these. And then when we're done with this, I'll take you through their daily routine with these girls. Then when they turn into production, they go over to that facility over there. That's where we breed the cows and turn kind of everything full circle. So it all starts right here. We'll travel the country in the fall and find the best females we can find. And I'll kind of start here. So it's like a glorified 4-H project.
Wow. How long did you guys start this?
This is about, my kids older. Kinley's 13, so their first year 4-H probably. So 4 or 5 years.
Okay. Yeah, because it's like the gates, everything. Looks like pretty new.
This was last summer. We did have them out back. There's another set out back, which we call the B team. This is the A team out here. So they all kind of chill out here, and then at night they'll get rinsed up in there.
Now they're having to get rinsed because?
Keep their hair coat going. Keep them broke, tame. Like we're getting ready to go to a show in 2 weeks, so they're hairy. And then we'll clip them and shape them and do everything, all the pizzazz.
Wow. So some of these right here, might go for, value of these
$50,000 to $100,000 a piece. But the return on it's crazy. You sell eggs for $3,000 a pop and flush them every 2 weeks. Some will give you 20 eggs, some will give you 7. Just depends. So
holy smokes.
So it's kind of the new modern way to raise cattle. We don't have bulls here. Everything's done artificially.
Okay.
So like I said, this is kind of the beginning of where it all starts. It starts as a project. And some of them will turn around and be the best generators there ever are and never win a cattle show. It's so unpredictable.
As far as the breeds, is it
All breeds. We run the board. We're not one breed loyal. The only breeds that we would do is heifers that can make females or heifers that can make steers. And that's more of a body type. It's not a breed thing. And then it's a color thing. Like south of where you are, they want them colored up. Reds, whites.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That stuff. Up here, blacks, black baldies. And then there's always a market for those crazy colored ones. Some little girl gets her dad twisted, wants that red and white one. You know what I mean? So it's always just shaking the tree. They're trying to find a value in it.
Everyone sound like down where we are, like the red Angus have gotten really popular. Yeah. Like people love, they're just smaller, docile.
Right. Some of those breeds will be absolutely dormant and then just explode within a year or two.
So this building looks pretty new.
So we moved here 2.5 years ago. We used to live 20 miles away, and trying to calve over here was just an absolute pain in the ass. So it gets pretty in depth. Like this is the feed board, and each one of those things get fed completely different, down to the minute scoop, everything. No matter their body condition, supplements, all kinds of crazy shit. But it's really good. Like, so my oldest daughter's 13 and the youngest one's 4. They have to do all this shit morning and night. So it works pretty good.
It's their project.
Theirs. Yep.
How did you guys get into this? What started it? What was where was the idea to?
I showed cattle when I was little, but we sucked at it. We were fucking terrible, and I don't like to lose, so just kind of living my thing vicariously through my kids. So we bring them in here to wash them and blow them. And that's kind of a daily routine. Just keep everything going. So they'll wash when they get home from school.
Every day?
Yep. It's going up to a show. Like when it's real cold, we won't mess with them. But like we're getting ready to go to a show, so it's hammer time. As soon as they get home from school, they'll start rolling. You were talking when
obviously we're up here because of the Barn Talk podcast, but we watched your episode that you were on there. But you were talking like when you came back from the military, you were wanting to get into livestock judging. Is that right?
Yep, for sure. And that's a lot of what this kind of stems from.
Okay. Nice. Did you grow up? So you grew up doing that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Your parents were big into?
We weren't huge into it, but we're kind of into it. I wasn't any good at sports or anything like that, so you kind of have to find your niche. While I was on the partying and drinking side of the game rather than the athletics. Yeah, kind of just stemmed from 4-H and FFA. So
yeah.
And then in the summer, like so in April, we'll shave all the hair off of them. They have a hair cycle, and we'll shave all the hair off of them, and then they'll come in here, so they won't see a whole lot of daylight. They'll stay in here. It's air-conditioned cool room.
Oh, wow.
Individual pens, cooler units. We'll keep it about 40 degrees in here. And they stay inside. Fans blowing on them. And then at dusk, we will go and turn them back outside. And that just gets their hair going. You're trying to trick their hair into thinking it's wintertime, and it's dark. Poof. So the hairier they are, the more not misconception, the more illusions you can shape into their hair, whether it's their leg or their neck.
It just makes them look like a better show steer or show cow. Okay.
Yep, for sure.
Wow. There's a lot that goes into it.
It's intense. It is. It's kind of like, it's just stupid. Like I was just entering the kids last night for that show in Des Moines. It's like $900 just to enter. Shit. But I told my wife, I said, hey, memories ain't cheap. We got to go.
But the thing is, that show, though, I mean, if you guys place well, though, it's going to allow.
Well, you're doing it for 2 reasons. It's a fun weekend getaway. And then it's a building process to build a reputation on these cattle.
Right.
Here.
Yep.
So it's kind of it's a very good way for the kids to learn responsibility, feeding and doing all this shit. And it's a good way to get humilitized too. You can do all the work in the world and go get your teeth kicked in. And you got to get back up and keep on hammering.
So all 3 will be showing?
Yep, we'll have 3 showing this year, yep. Yeah, so then let's see, we show the 14th and 15th. So next week we'll start clipping and we'll bring them in here. And I can't clip, so I got guys that work for us that
Like professional that's coming in
they'll
here?
come in and smoke them things down. Wow. Yeah, once they leave here, they look like completely different animals. So
there's a lot of processes to do.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so that starts kind of the beginning, and then I'll take you over the farm, and that's where we spin into the production. Well, it'll tie it all together.
So besides the show, I mean, you guys just running regular cattle too, or is it everything show?
All the mothers are commercial, regular mothers, and then we'll put their embryos in those commercial cows. That commercial cow will basically be a surrogate for those elite animals.
Okay. Hey guys, we are getting down to weeks away from the Bulk Freight Conference 2025. This is our third year. We don't want you to miss it. We will have now expecting 800 attendees, carriers, shippers, and brokers all in bulk. I'm going to tell you what, your network is your net worth. If you're struggling to find the right connections or enrich those connections, you can't do that behind the desk or over a phone or over the internet. You got to come to the Bulk Freight Conference. Go to the Bulk Freight Conference website, bulkfreightconference.com. Get signed up today. Tickets are limited. Hotel accommodations are getting limited too. You will find that all on the website. I'm telling you, this is one of the best things you can do to grow your business in 2025. You don't want to miss it. Hope to see you there. God bless.
So the farm kind of works in a circle. The best way to see it's from here. That's the calving and breeding facility. And then as soon as they calve and the weather's good, they come over to this little paddock. And as they get older, they'll go to the next one. Oh. And then they just keep working further and further away. Those cows down there, they'll calve March 4th. So as they get closer to calving, everybody makes a circle. So they're kind of hanging out, getting ready to get put inside the calving barn.
Yep.
And we got a fresh group of calves in there that will come over, take their spot. They'll move over.
So everything will calve inside.
Yep.
100. Okay.
So as they get older, they're a little more independent, and then they'll just shift and get further away.
Okay.
And then they circle back around.
Summer, everything gets calved inside?
Yep.
That barn, I see it open. Like, does that closed part, I mean, is that indoor for cattle too, or?
Yeah, we can go look at that. That's for like the fresh babies. I got pens inside there. They'll stay in there. Our breeding facility and our tubs are over on this side. But like, they won't stay inside that barn. They'll calve. It's okay if they calve in the open part right now. And then we'll pull them into their maternity pens for about 12 hours, get them mothered up real good, then kick them back out to general population. Or if we have one that's a little slower, we'll leave them in there for a little longer.
Okay.
But then like there's a bunch of, we'll pull all the doors open on that open spot and be able to ventilate that a lot better.
I know you mentioned the girls, but I mean, this is still a lot. You got the trucking business. Who else helps you with?
I got guys here. I got office managers in Kelowna that are fantastic. I got shop managers in Kelowna that are great.
But you got a couple farm hands or ranchers here that are kind of working?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, Russ, yeah. So you just saw, yep, he kind of oversees this stuff and keeps girls in line.
Yeah. Cool. It's cool how it's kind of all organized that way.
I'm a control freak. I like to kind of be in every part of it.
Yeah. Super cool.
So these are all replacement females here. They'll get bred this spring and get sold next winter for replacement females. This is a set. They're about 3 weeks old. These little fellas over here.
Oh, nice.
So they're the ones getting ready to get moved further back.
How did you kind of figure all this out?
I went on I like to listen to podcasts and I like to ask questions. So a building company put on a tour out in Nebraska. You get on charter buses and you just drive around the state for 3 days, like looking at people's stuff. And I was just asking. The biggest reason is ground is so expensive here, like ridiculous. And it doesn't work for cow-calf, so you have to
Oh, yeah.
You saw, well, torque, all their hug building stuff, everything's confined, everything's vertically integrated. So I challenged,
Doing the same with livestock.
I wanted to do it with beef cattle that way, and then tie in our hobby to try to make our hobby, at the very minimum, break even. And then it just became like just a challenge. I love challenges, especially when people tell me I can't do something. That's like, okay, watch this. So these little fellas just got done.
Yeah, look how small these guys are.
So they're kind of just hanging out. They're getting ready to go outside. Yeah, they're just there. We make sure everybody gets a good start while we can catch them easy, you know? Because a lot of times you get out there, it's kind of like the Wild West, and I can't rope for shit. So, yeah, these little fellows will get their feet under them here, and these guys will leave. We'll clean all this out, and then we'll bring the next set in. So, air spacing is the number one thing for health in cattle. So, we treat the mothers kind of more of in a locked confined setting, but we want those babies to stay healthy. I don't want them up here laying in manure and stuff, so I'll let them go out there and play in the grass, and then they can come back through to go eat and do that kind of stuff.
So they'll get about how old before they're coming out? A month?
What's that?
How
Come
old?
out of here?
Yeah.
It depends on the weather.
Okay.
If it's really bad weather, I'll leave them in here for a while. You know, if we're running into, if it's like this, they can stay in here for a couple days and get out. So by doing that, we don't have to bed it all the time. We can kind of save on bedding and stuff if the weather's good. So far, we've had a really good winter. But all these fellows were calved out in that blustery 0, -20 bullshit that we had last week. So these guys got a good start. They're probably ready to exit the premises here.
Man, pretty babies.
Yeah, so when these guys get ready July, they'll start getting subbed out, and then I'll sub them out to brokers, and they'll break them, and then they'll sell them for projects just like what we showed over there.
So these are all going to be show calves.
Yep, they're all show calves.
By the time, what do these retail for on average? Like a show calf when they go to...
I like to put my numbers at 5,000 and hope that it's a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to get a ballpark. So about $5,000.
So you're going to have...
Compared to if that was just a regular, would be...
You're going to have some that blow your mind and bring 50 plus, and you're going to have some that don't bring shit. It's just the law of averages. It's such a risky game, and this setting would still work really well for a commercial cow, man. Just the control and all that stuff. We just opt to be a little more aggressive with it and attempt to hit a homer, and if we miss, this is going to be embarrassing. So, yeah.
Well, these go
a lot more fun. It's like exciting. Like, what's this thing gonna be?
Yeah, it's kind of like a surprise.
Exactly.
I mean, you're kind of like
100%.
Kind of rolling the dice and hoping you get a home run every once in a while.
Yep. The averages is the safe way to play. It's kind of like exactly like going to the high limit room and just seeing what happens. You're gonna be really happy. You're gonna be really pissed, and there ain't no in between. So when this is set up normal, we can pen it off. Like there's like 25 in this set, but we'll have 3 different. We can break this down even further. So if it's set up correctly, normally we can open it all up since they're done, but it would be penned 4 pens in here.
Oh, okay.
And then like say one looked like she was going to calve tonight, she'd go in here. We got full surface cameras everywhere to where you can watch all the time.
Oh, nice.
And then kind of do the same thing with the age game. We'll go through and look at them after we feed and see, like, okay, she looks like she's going to drop today or tomorrow. Close-ups. She's got a few days. Stay over there.
So you guys are really watching these.
Yeah, you have to.
Girls.
These things are so big and so stout. A lot in the show cattle deal, you have to be there available to assist them if they need it. I mean, the foot size and the bone's just not normal for that commercial world. So sometimes they do need help. And when they do need help, we'll bring them in here.
So 100%, everything's AI. I mean, you're taking those, or embryo, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the ones we'll preg check, and the ones that don't settle the embryo, we'll bull breed them and then sell them.
To do that, I mean, do you have to have a vet, or is there service that comes out to?
Yeah, it'd be like we work with Transova and Collison's out of Rockwell City. They specialize in that. And then for us, with our cost of operation, we need the bangers. So we're better off to not feed the bull breds and sell them in December to guys that are looking for those bull bred cows to go into commercial.
Yeah.
So these dual functions as an alleyway and calving pens. Those gates will all swing across the wall. So when we're rocking and rolling and have 10 in a day, each one of them come in here. So they'll stay in here for 10 hours, 12 hours, sometimes 2 days if we got one that needs help getting going. But we get them in here, get them mothered up, and let her rip. And then a lot of times we're breeding and calving at the same time. So we'll have baby pairs in here, and we'll bring in the open cows ready to breed through this alleyway and funnel them around. So there's a lot of shots. We synchronize all those cows to cycle and gestate at the exact same time. So we'll line this up. We can fit 19 cows from the front to the back and go through and start popping them with their shots. 3 rounds of shots to get them to all come in at the same time, and then we'll breed them all the same day.
Man, it's a process.
Yeah. And we do that to get that calving window tight. We get that calving window tight, then we're hawks watching them until they're all done, and then we're done. So we take the process, ram it together. We also get consistency that way. They're all the same age for that group within 4 or 5 days, and then we're done. We clean this out. We haven't got to it yet, but we'll clean all this out, clean all that out, re-rack the next set.
Man,
when we line them up in here, we got our shots. They go right in their hip, and we just do it like a factory. Just bang, 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 bang. When they come in, we keep track when they come in to eat. The embryologist comes, throws the embryos in them, and out the door they go.
What's the success rate of all that? I mean,
try to shoot for 50%, and that is when you're messing with Mother Nature like that, you better be ready to get burned. I've had 33%, I've had 80%. A lot of it has to go with the cow's nutrition, keeping them the right plane of nutrition, mineral, all that stuff. Make sure you give the shots at the exact same time. Make sure your embryologist is good. And that's why we built this facility. If we did this outside on a rainy day in March, the embryologist probably like, ugh, this ain't no fun. Heat, controlled, relax, do your job, bud. Get that thing in there good.
How many acres you got here?
There's 160 here, and then there's another 160 across the road. So why, again, we did it too was we can feed a pile of cows with the technology and the cover crops and all that stuff available off of minimal ground. That's where the whole concept came into. I can't go buy $20,000 an acre dirt to run cattle on.
My dad, he worked for a large truck line back home. He had a farm that he had to help out, but they had, I think it was 400 mamas all under roof. Yeah. But they did, those cows never saw pasture.
Any pasture.
They didn't, so they were fed, everything calved. It was just, it was the first kind of opening to me. I was like, oh my gosh. But the control environment, like you said.
That, and you can control exactly what they get. Back when feed was high priced, that was a huge, huge thing. You can control everything down to the dollar it costs per head per day to feed them and all that. When they're out there on grass, smashing the shit down and whichever.
Yeah, that's the thing. They can control the grass you're cutting, baling, know everything, and you're not.
So I wanted to do that all inside concept, and as we got to going, the health just went to shit. Like, you still can't beat that good grass, but you can still do it in moderation. So I have a hybrid model, and I'll still control their feed, but I'll also let them go be cows, so to speak.
Yeah, that's actually good.
That is an insurance claim that the insurance company didn't need to find out about. So it's expensive shade tree.
I know we're going to see in a little bit, but how many trucks do you have on the road?
Oh, shit. Depends on the day. Depends on who quits and who don't. We're 25, 30. Just kind of depends. So half of that's our trucks, the other half's owner-operators. We're kind of switching to more of a owner-operator based model. Yep. I think there's a lot to gain from that. And a lot of these kids want to to own their own trucks, they have to come to work. They have a payment. They do a good job because they have skin in the game.
Yep, that's right. Most of your hauls, you guys are hauling more pigs than anything?
Yeah, pigs are our bread and butter. For here, and a lot of it too, and this goes with anything in trucking, you got to haul with what's in your area, right? Hogs, for us and livestock, there's so many hogs around here to make your head spin. It'd be the same way if you live by an Amazon distribution center. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So you got a lot of guys, I want to haul cows. Well, that's great. There ain't no cows around here. So if you want to haul cows, then you're going to be over the road. And then the next thing, you're going to be pissed off that I'll be home every night. Oh, Jesus fuck Christ, what do you want? You know what I mean?
Most of your guys, they're home.
We try like hell to get them home 2 or 3 nights a week, and we've seen that for the gross revenue that they do per truck and the retention, that's the sweet spot. We make them go every other weekend. In my line of work, we got to fill the plants for Monday morning, so we got to go on Sunday. So we roll them every other weekend, and we try to get them home 2 to 3 nights a week if possible. Some weeks they won't get home at all. Some weeks they'll be home every night. It's just, we're in the service business. So my customer tells me when they're shipping and where they're going, we execute. Yeah. And then we just balance out our roster to try to, in a severe attempt to make everybody happy, which is fuck. Yeah. You know,
it's trucking. But you're right saying you're in the business of service, man.
I think a lot of people forget that. Like, and I go over this with my guys all the time. Like, hey, if your air conditioner shits out in your house July 4th, and you call the guy to fix it, and he tells you I can't get there till tomorrow or the next day, you are calling somebody else.
That's right.
No matter what. So, you know, do I like it that we got to go out on Christmas Day afternoon? No. But we have to fill the plant. If we don't, somebody else is gonna. So it's just an interesting dynamic, and this next generation kind of loses track of that service. Yep. And we all got spoiled during COVID for the most part because customer service kind of went out the window, so to speak. Hauling $10 a mile freight, well, everybody got complacent and comfortable with that. Well, now customer service is back in town.
Yeah, that's good. Do you guys see yourself expanding the trucking operation? Or continuing to grow, I guess.
I think right now is a holding pattern. Insurance is a severe problem. You know, they want 25-year-old kids with 5 years experience. Well, where do they get the experience from?
Yeah.
So I think we'd be more comfortable growing the owner-operator model. I think it works better. And this generation of drivers, they're not the same as the old, the old school guys.
So we just loaded up back in the car. We're going to head to Jared's trucking operation. It's in Kelowna, which I think he said about 15-mile drive. But yeah, that was really cool just to see the show cow operation. I mean, just brand spanking new stuff, and I love how he said he's traveled around and looked at some of these best practices to try to figure out how they can be more successful and profitable running the cattle business. But yeah, right now we're going to go see the trucking business, which is in Kelowna. He's got a washout bay there and keeps his trucks, and yeah, excited to see it. Hey, I got to ask you first, How did you get the awesome name of Jared? I just think it's one of the best names, Jared.
Mom must have been having a good day back then, I guess. It was always frustrating growing up too, because it's spelled so different. Oh, yeah. I'm like, nah, it's only this way. You all are wrong.
You spell it the same way as I do, right? Yeah. J-R, yeah. I always tell people like in the Bible. It's spelled the same way in the Bible. So can't be wrong.
For sure. Yeah, it's wild.
So this is the main shop here, which from your house that we just came to, what, 15?
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes.
Why is it here, not?
We kind of don't ever plan things. It's just like, hey, this will work. Hey, get the cows going. Hey, we need to live by the cows. So, I don't know. It's never really.
Did you guys live here one time in town?
No,
No, this just happened.
Okay.
So, we never, like, I guess to back up, never thought it would get this way. Like, it just never, when we built this, we had 3 trucks. And it just, like, it's crazy, like, just how things develop and things. So, like, this is our livestock washout.
Yeah.
And
I really, like, if I could do it again, I would have built it off the interstate to get the boys efficiency-wise. So we're going to build a new one off the interstate, and then we're going to build another one 200 miles west. That's in the plans for this year. And just plant these livestock washouts. And I think it's similar to your guys' line of work.
Yeah,
But
the hopper washouts.
off the interstates and things. So biosecurity is a huge thing. So every load that we haul, we pretty much have to be washed out and clean. So we don't want any of that debris from that trailer going inside of a building, getting other pigs sick. So these pigs are so densely populated.
So are you guys hauling finished pigs?
Everything, all different classes of pigs.
So it could be anything from wean pigs,
Yep.
feeder pig, whatever, different
sure.
weights.
Yep.
And you guys are delivering even to the kill plants?
Kill plants everywhere. So biosecurity is a big thing. Make sure you don't track that stuff around.
And do you all, I mean, are you guys ever hauling any other livestock besides?
We'll haul cattle here and there, but we stay so busy with hogs. Hogs is so structured. Like, I get 400 loads in my email on Thursday, and then I can build it. So that's how we retain guys. I can build it. Like, boom, you're doing this, this, and this. He's done tonight, he's going home, he'll leave in the morning. Boom, boom, boom. So that's where we kill it in retention, because he knows what he's doing. A lot of our competitors are, yeah, call me when you get unloaded, I'll tell you where you go next.
Uncertainty.
So I think like we do well with it's hard trucking and balancing family life. A lot of these guys have kids and they're gone and this and that. So at least when they're gone, they can tell, when they're going to be back, that kind of stuff. Or if they have something going on. So we'll stay within a 300 air mile radius of here and just zip them back and forth and kind of crisscross. But we have to wash out so much. For instance, if he was on a tight times table, he'd drop that in here and grab one and leave. But most drivers, especially the prideful ones like John here, he don't want nobody pulling his trailer. A lot of those good drivers, equipment integrity is number one to them. So nobody drives John's truck, nobody pulls John's trailer unless it's a efficiency situation or a time situation.
What's the cost if you're to go to an outside washout to get these washed out?
Anywhere from $150 to $400. It just depends.
So it can get pretty expensive if you didn't have your own bay.
Yep.
So we do it because we can control the quality of job, and it just works better. So our guys, instead of him unloading and waiting 2-3 hours, maybe more, to get washed out, he's back here and home. So that's what I like about it.
These guys you were talking about, most of them you can get them home 2 or 3 nights a week.
Yeah, we try for that. It's never a guarantee, you know what I mean? But we certainly try for that.
I always think when I always hear the livestock haulers, people always talk about this livestock hauling is a young man's sport. Mm-hmm. Like those guys, halfway nuts hauling livestock. But like, what is your perception, or what would you say to that?
Used to be. The modern renegade outlaw days are over with. There's still guys out there, I think, that do that, but sustainability is number one, right? When we first started, you pull onto a DOT scale and they'd run that DOT number. Yep, go around back, bud. So as you learn and evolve, you got to keep that thing clean, which comes down to it. And the people have changed. That 24-hour-a-day bullshit, it don't fly no more. Yeah. And especially lawsuits and the safety and just the risk aspect of it. That $1,000 load to run it hot and take a chance of killing somebody, you're going to jail. Like, it ain't no joke. So, I've gotten older, and it's a fine balance of chasing the money and being safe. But I got audited by the feds in 2016, and what I paid in fines, we might as well just ran legal, right? So,
walk this way. Look, so talk about like these guys. Are they? And to get specific, but like, livestock haulers, equivalent to what grain haulers are going to make?
Oh no, it's way more. So, like, we're bidding freight loaded one way, and that's the challenging part about livestock is there's not freight just sitting everywhere to drop, hook, and do all that.
So everything you're bidding, you're assuming you're
one
running
way.
Back empty.
Everything's one way. And And some guys, maybe more in the cattle sector, are more like the backhaul is not in my vocabulary. We don't do backhauls. Yeah. If it's a backhaul, and contrary to popular belief, or maybe customers get mad, but it's none of the other customers' business if I already had a truck over there, right? That's the connections that we have for our guys to double dip, so to speak, or whatever, if we can make it work. But it's never that, because we got to wash. Yeah. So as far as the money, the money is what it is, and it's kind of a two-part conception deal, because you got guys that will tell me, oh, I can run, I want to make all this money. Well, day two, their tummy hurts and they got to go home for bowling league and shit. So that honest perception is a deal. But to answer your question, I mean, I got guys that make 70 grand a year, guys that make 130. And that's my truck.
Just depending on how much they want to.
Yeah, whatever. And it's a get in where you fit in. And I always ask those guys, like, hey, tell me what you want to do. And there are standards like that. You will do your part. If you're on my team, you will do your part. Not everybody can run the way, everybody's different. So I asked those guys to tell me, hey, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And let it rip from there. So it is a whatever you want to make game. But I'm not going to run those guys on a 2-day binger. I won't do it anymore. Just too many accidents.
Yeah, it's not worth the...
And even still, we get by on the MAP 150 regulations. So, I mean, we're still running logs, but we have a little more flexibility. But I tell a lot of these kids that work for us now, like, that shit don't matter, dude. Like, again, safety. And safety, it used to be like a punchline, and now it's legit. Safety is money.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Safety is money. It's really good.
And I think a lot of guys, well, a lot of brokers and stuff, you got to have a clean deal for them to load you. That doesn't really relay to us per se, but, you know, I will take our safety record and show it to customers, and just to offset us from our competitors.
These washouts, do the drivers wash them out themselves? Or
they have either or. So like in my situation, I pay those guys $45 to wash their own trailer out. I can do it in 27 minutes with these fire hoses that we can go look at. But I have full-time guys to wash, but I want, how am I trying to say it here? Nobody will come to me and say my check sucked, because the first thing I'm going to go do is go look at that wash log. If I own this and I'm not too proud to wash one out, then you can go wash one out. Yeah. So I have guys that'll make an extra $300 a week by washing them out themselves.
That's cool that you incentivize them to do it themselves. Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, you can do it and make it.
Hey, my check sucked. Oh, hold please. You didn't wash no trailer out. What the fuck? And it also helps too if they have a slower week and things like that to offset it.
That's really good.
But I have like 3 guys that they don't want anybody else washing it out because they're so particular. They want to do it themselves.
Will this guy do it himself?
Probably not. He's probably ready to go home. So I got high school kids they're here now, and I kind of try to find a balance. Like them guys, I want them high school kids to do it now. He's been on the road for a while, like a couple days, so get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I want to keep those guys fresh.
Talk about it, just like this truck, that really cool paint scheme, but this one's a little bit different. Is there? I just talk about kind of your brand, and do you have kind of a method master? I know because you run all Kenworths, right?
Yep.
T900s?
W9s.
Or no, I'm sorry.
W9s, but we did just pull in a T680 to experiment with fuel mileage, and we stripped all the plastic off of it, and it's got dual exhaust out the sides, and it looks pretty sporty. So we're just trying to hone down on efficiencies, cost of operations. Scary right now, so if we can pick up that fuel mileage, and that's kind of a 2-bit punchline too. We're pulling parachutes talking about fuel mileage, but
yeah, well, I was going to talk about that because the fuel mileage and livestock's probably got to be one of the worst with any other versus trailers, because you're pulling a parachute down the road.
You can still work on it though. I mean, you can still improve. I mean, to be honest, I'll tell you, we're 4.5 mile a gallon right now, and those cold weeks we'll do 4.1. When it warms up and the wind isn't blowing, we can get 5.5.
That newer model, what is it?
We're doing 6.4 with that thing, which is unheard of in our game.
Well, that's
So,
a
huge deal. The challenge is when you're looking at matching up drivers to trucks, the younger guys, they don't want to drive the aerodynamic bubble ones. They want the big hood and all that shit. So you got to kind of play softly with that. So I personally drove that truck for a while just to be like, hey, it's not poisonous. You're going to be fine. You won't die, I promise. Just to kind of set that precedent. So then I had another guy, he's like, hey, I'll drive that thing. I'm like, here you go, knock yourself out. So the style is that aero cab, flat top, that kind of, I just always loved that look.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got a Peterbilt, and the advantage is you can still stand up in that and put your pants on. So I kind of like that. So the color schemes, the senior drivers, the guys that have been here for a while, the guys that do a phenomenal job, steady, consistent, I let them pick them out. So I let them,
Whatever.
I'll do the engines and most of the specs, but other than that, here you go. Pick your drop bys or your colors. I'm not a pink guy, so I kind of draw the line on pink. I haven't had one do that, but yeah, I let them kind of do their thing. So I kind of, the wheelbase and stuff, we need to shorten them up a little bit. These 280-inch wheelbase trucks, they're kind of just about an inconvenience to some of the places we go.
Oh, interesting.
So we need to shorten them up a little bit, and then it also helps with the resale. So we're trying to buy trucks that we can run for 3 years and have a high resale value for a guy to go pull a hopper, van, owner-operator spec, whichever. So that's how we do that. So all the trailers are...
EVs?
They're all EVs, and they're all almost exactly the same. They're the same spec, they're the same brakes, same suspension, same tires, same everything.
How long will a trailer like that, or how long will you pull it before you do trade it in?
We have ours on a 4-year rotation. So this one's pretty fresh, and we'll keep them every 4 years, and we'll bring in about a trailer every quarter or so. Just we always are rolling them.
One of these, I mean, that's the other thing, this over the last year, doing these videos, traveling across the country, talking to these guys about the price of trailers. Like, how much have these trailers went up in price? I mean, just over the last 10 years or 5 years. I mean,
COVID was a bear for us. My first trailer I bought, a brand new trailer I bought in, I think it was a 2012. I paid $77,000 for it. That's $140,000 one.
so almost double over the last 12 years.
Which is crazy. A lot of it's the FET, but I mean, these things don't even have engines. We're paying $200, $220 for trucks, and you're talking $130, $140 for trailers. But COVID, I mean, it was just bang, 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 and it hasn't fell down as fast as it went up. So
You were talking about insurance being just a trouble. I mean, just over the continued premiums just continue to go up every year. Yeah.
Insurance is a chore, and I think there's two parts to that. So
I remember this because obviously we do insurance. And we're doing for the grain guys and all that. But what I remember, and I'm not an insurance agent, so that's my disclaimer. But it seems like there's very few markets that write livestock haulers.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of competitors out there. You have like a very small group. Well, if there's not a lot of competitors.
Yeah, it's a monopoly situation. Yeah. And I see a lot of insurance, just the owner operators we deal with. A lot of them don't want to deal with onesies and twosies anymore. And you look at the fundamentals of insurance. We run all herd bumpers on every single truck we have. A single deer hit is $14,000, roughly, whatever. Knock the hood out, push your radiator in, all that stuff. Well, that's $14,000. And then you turn around and you start talking about the downtime or whatever. Mm-hmm. And people are so sue happy now. God forbid you hurt somebody, they're $100,000 in it at least, and then a lawsuit coming. So when you look at just the fundamentals of insurance, of how much it costs, we laid one over this fall. It was probably a $350,000 loss. And then I just get an invoice in the mail for $30,000 for the guardrail that he took out. So when you're talking about a upwards of $400,000 loss, and they have to prorate all that, I understand it. I get it. The challenge that we have is it's hard for any trucking company to raise their rates, as fighter competitive as it is, to offset that cost.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a young kid, call him 25-year-old with a clean record and 5 years of experience in my game. He ain't getting insured for less than $25,000. So you're $2,000 a month, you know.
Yeah.
Woof. You're hauling a load at least a week just for insurance. So it's
Jeez.
it's wild. But this equipment, the parts are expensive and everything's expensive. But
Look at you said those fire hoses, wash bay. Yeah, that's kind of cool to see that. So when you go to, after he washes out, he's got to put clean shavings in there.
yeah, he'll do that when he gets to the farm
Now, is that mandatory for the?
for the pigs.
Okay. Yeah, this is an outside truck, yeah.
Yeah, that's my brother's truck.
Okay. Man, sharp. Wow. You want to take a look in here and see if they, wow. How long does it take to clean one of these out? I mean, I know it can vary depending on how nasty it is, but
How long will it take you to clean this out?
Probably 45 minutes to an hour. Not too bad.
So this is a triple deck. These take a little longer. This is for little pigs.
okay. I think it's cut up in there.
So then like this one here probably take him half an hour. It's just a regular 2-deck.
Okay.
So this is his busy time. The trailers will start rolling in about now, and then he'll get them washed up, and then back out they go.
So these trailers are getting washed out every day?
Every day. Oh yeah. Yep.
In the winter, about every 3 to 4 loads.
Yeah. Summertime.
Yeah, summertime,
Yeah.
about 4 to 5.
Just depends on the customer requirements. They'll tell us clean, dirty, whichever they want to do.
I never thought about that. Livestock trailers probably out of all trailers have to get cleaned more than anything, just because of the.
Yeah, it's harder right now. You're good to go, Gentry. It's harder now with the when they come in here and they're frozen. That's a son of a bitch.
Oh.
So I have to let them thaw a little bit, and it's a pain in the ass. So this is a shitty job. But like that kid's 16. I think I freaking wrote him a check for like $1,000 last week for 16-year-old.
For one?
1 week. Yeah. It's dirty work, but it's like
Yeah, my son to finally wash out jobs. So.
Oh yeah.
I pay for you and buy some gas working for me, baby. But I mean, it's cold. Today's beautiful, but it's cold. It's a shitty, dirty job.
Yeah, literally. So so once they clean it out, this is getting the shavings. Is that what this is?
No, they'll pull ahead and then they'll throw the bedding on the back as they're rolling out.
Oh.
This is taking the shavings from the system. So
Okay.
Yep, all the debris will fall in there. It rolls over there into a big batch pit, and the shavings will fall on this side of that, and the water will go underneath the other building. And then the water gets pumped out on the field.
Yeah, because there's some.
A lot of debris.
But I mean, isn't there some fertilizer?
Yeah, there's some. Not a whole lot, but some. Yeah. So then we'll store it and get it ready.
So your brother runs for you, or runs separate?
Yep, separate. Yeah.
Did your dad, was he in livestock hauler?
Yep, our dad started it, and then I have my business, and then my little brother took over my dad's business. Then my other brother is the dispatcher for Eichelberger Farms down in Wayland, a big hog company.
Okay.
So we've trucks forever. Trucks.
Yeah,
It's always been trucking. Yeah.
So is this stuff, most of it, is it figured on just a set of miles?
Yeah, loaded miles. So you kind of have a short range, a medium range. Like the short range stuff, me personally, we bid it by the hour. Just you can't get any miles, so it doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean, you get
more sitting.
I'll listen to kids like, "Oh, I'm getting $10 a mile." It don't fucking matter if you're going 10 miles, dumbass. You know what I mean? So there's a flat rate, and then there's the long haul stuff, and we will, if we have an opportunity to reload, we'll be homies and be like, "Hey, dude, I can do it for this." We're already crisscrossing, but those are all relationships. We relationship haul. We don't really load board haul, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's smart. And I think for us, we being an owner of a load board, our goal is we get people that, find loads, but they develop relationships from that. And I said, people always like, that's a bad business model. It's like, no, it's not. We want to get them graduated where they have direct, and still though, hopefully they still keep the load board for filling work or whatever, but it's like getting those contacts that, you're not just spot freighting it all the time.
Weight is something that, the axle configurations and weight of hauling livestock, we're at a disadvantage. We don't know what they weigh. So we're putting them on the truck, going off of air gauges, and then that kind of thing. So for instance, you pick up a load up in Wyoming, their weights are different coming to Iowa. You roll 60,000 pounds on that trailer in this state and get popped, have fun. You know what I mean? So it's just so much unpredictability stuff. So when we're pulling into plants and kind of staying here, I know where I'm at. Like I told you, I got dinged bad in 2016, and that was, okay, I'll behave. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, I'll be good.
So are you still doing all the dispatching yourself? I mean, lining up the loads?
So I have a dispatch team in here, but I like to build it.
That's just kind of the control, like you want to...
I like to build it, and whenever you're looking for a successful dispatcher, you have to have one, in my opinion, that has trucked before.
Yep. So 100% agree.
What I see, what she sees or what they see may be different than what I see.
Is this just a kind of a shop bay?
Yeah.
For
Trucks. So all that water that you saw in there, it goes underneath this building. And then when it's cold, we'll jam this thing clear full of trucks for the weekend.
Oh, just to keep them all in?
Yep, they'll all park in here. In the weekend.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always forget. I mean, today's like, I'm normally
Today
warm,
is
but
not
it's not
normal.
normal Iowa weather.
Correct. Yeah, it's not normal.
I love these pink colors. Man, it's sharp.
Yeah, so we try to do them all different. There's not one of them the same.
But they all have a common thread.
Yep.
They all got the stripe, but like just the different colors.
For sure.
Yeah. It's nice.
So yeah, I do the dispatching, the build it, and where I find success is when I'm out on the road, when I'm in here, the morale is everybody's playing the drums, So I just like to have the ball here, and then I can get stuff to go there. And then, like I said, then the dispatch team will do changes and things like that. Sometimes they'll call and say, hey, we need to change this load to this load and whatever, and they'll handle that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I feel the same way in business. Like you want to be in there, because I've heard you before in your podcast talk about leadership, and you're going to do anything that you'd expect your employees to do, whether it's washing out a trailer, calling the customer, whatever it is. And I'm like, lead by example. I think, listen to your podcast, I assume some of that was just even learned that in the military.
100% military, yeah. You can tell who the good leaders are and the bad ones real fast, and you can tell which ones win and which ones don't. So, and it's basic fundamentals that are just humanity, treat other people the way you want to be treated and lead from the front. So
how do you do this? And this is something even personally I want to know, because, I'm running multiple businesses. My daughter and boys are getting older, so we're trying to do more of the fun stuff too. But like, is there a struggle for you, the balance between the trucking business and then the family? And I know you got the cattle operation, but
ginormous struggle. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not very smart sometimes, but I do listen. I'm very good at listening. So I've had a lot of old school truck drivers tell me like, hey, do not miss these years. You can always go get more money. And I don't even know if what we're doing, it's for money's important, but I don't do this for the money. I like to be surrounded by kick-ass dudes. So whether you're talking about volume of trucks or number of cattle, I don't care about the volume, as long as I can run as many as I can with the best people around. And then I tie it back in, and I will catch myself from time to time, like, hey, I'm being a shitty dad. I need to roll back. Yep. But as I told you yesterday, when I'm at the farm, it's 100% farm. And when this slips. And when I'm here, I'm 100% here, and that slips. And then I try to do both, and then, oh shit, my kids slip. Yep. So the cattle is a nice way, the showing side, to where we can kind of do all that together. But the balance thing's the biggest challenge. Sometimes you get scatterbrained, but I think when it comes to help and when it comes to team, the best of the best. And then you can rely on those guys. Like I have owner operators that have pulled for me for a long time. They started driving my trucks. They transitioned into owning their own businesses, pulling my trailers. Well, I invested in them to where just last week I have my owner operators like, hey dude, I need you to help me watch these younger guys and make sure. They don't get paid any extra to do that. They do that because it's the culture. It's what we built here. And that's what I want. Like, hey, that might not be your job, but I'm asking you to do this for me, and they'll do it. So when it comes to team members, even pay, like I'm not going to be the guy that sits here and says, oh, you want $30 an hour? How's 20 sound? If the number's 30, that's fine. If the number's 40, that's fine. But you better get me 40 worth of stuff. I want what I'm paying for. So, and I think that you also have to understand that your people have to be successful for you to be successful.
Yep.
So, and any time you catch that, sometimes you got to make hard decisions. Like, all right, this entity needs to go, this or whatever the case may be. So, the balancing part, I think, to answer your question better, comes. I don't think it's ever easy, but if you have the right people in the right spot, and that's what Donald Trump does the best. He does have his flaws, but he will put the right person in the right spot. And if that person isn't doing the job, no matter if it's his golfing buddy or not, hey, dude, got to go. See you later. That's a hard decision, but there's two sides to me. I'll be your homie, and then there's the business. Don't cross them. I do a business relationship with my brother. We are very, very close. When we're talking about business, it's completely two different tones, attitudes, everything. It's, hey, dude, I need to talk to you about business. All right, what's up? We'll work out the business stuff, and then we'll switch and start talking about going to the bar and having a couple drinks to swap war stories about how shitty our week was, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing. And a lot of people, employees and team members, sometimes they get those lines mixed. And I think it's got to be a two-part system.
Yeah. That's super good.
We'll talk about business and we're going to talk about play. And there's black and there's white. So
we were talking earlier too that obviously you were on the Barn Talk podcast. You were talking about you listen to Jesse Bounds, but like you say, you try to consume a lot to learn.
For sure.
But talk about that, because I think that's where a lot of us we're kind of always as business owners out there trying to grow a business. Like, where can I keep feeding to learn, to get sharper, to be a better leader, to get sharper, to learn more about business. I mean, I love your story out there at your farm, talking about how you did this trip across Nebraska to learn about the cattle business. Like not many people would have done that, but you figured out a way, like, hey, if I'm going to make money, I got to learn and then apply this different than anybody else's.
Yeah, I think you got to swallow your pride a lot and ask questions. Whenever you're the smartest one in the room is when you're in trouble. Well, I don't want to be the dumbest guy in the room, but I got no problem sitting there and just absorbing. Information's free. It gets frustrating to me. Like, I could give a young 20-year-old kid $1 million worth of knowledge on a silver platter. The question is, are you going to take it and use it, or do you know it all? You know what I mean? So the podcast thing and the generation that we're in now, there's so much knowledge. Quit screwing around on Facebook while you're driving and pop in a podcast. Number one, it's safer. Number two, build yourself. And when you talk about life, their only measurable currency is time. So if you're driving down the road, you might as well build up here. So, and the variety of podcasts I listen to, if I'm down and feeling kind of soft, Andy Frisella, I'll run through a brick wall. And then the variety is what I like. Sean Ryan, get a little culture, get a little news going on. Then the best thing is like, it's not ABC, CBS, blah, 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 whatever anymore. So much variety of good, real stuff. So that's probably.
Is there anyone like trucking wise, like that you prefer? Like, I mean, some of the stuff you've learned in trucking, some of those businesses, I'm just thinking about other guys out there to sharpen.
I think that's, I don't listen to a lot of trucking podcasts. When I'm trucking, I'm wholly consumed in my business and what we can do better, I think. And I think the challenging part of trucking, everybody's business is different. Yeah. I will still listen and things, but I don't know how to haul freight. I don't know how to pull a tanker. I don't know much about hoppers. So in my livestock business, there's not a whole lot of that out there. And to be honest, and I don't think this is the right thing, everybody sees everybody as a threat and as a competitor. So nobody wants to share the dirt. I'm not really scared because you're not going to get me. Like nobody, I mean, one way or the other, we're going to win.
Well, there's really no secrets out there anyways.
For sure.
People think they're like, if they don't say something, they're holding this like that, nobody's going to know. And there's really, really no secrets out there in business.
The cost of operations is so tight right now that you're not going to upper hand. I mean, you're going to have guys cut rates and all that stuff, but that ain't going to last. I mean, those guys aren't sustainable. So, and they can't keep help. And then the next thing you know, they're going to come work for guys like me because we're doing it the right way. But the crazy thing is like what I learned the last couple of years was just mental health, mental fitness, and how important that is. It's no different than changing oil in a semi. You're not going to put used oil back in a semi when you service it. You got to be putting good stuff in your body, get your mind right. And what I like, it's not even a fad, but what I have going on right here, I have like 6 guys that are like dieting and talking about all that stuff, working out and stuff. And then like that spreads to the other 15. And some of them are overweight, and if you can inspire that shit, like it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I love that shit. And then it spreads instead of having drama and bullshit. Like I got guys sitting here arguing about what diet's better. Like that to me, yeah, we're hauling pigs, but it's so cool that like everybody's, let's be better,
Yeah. Last question, and man, appreciate your time. When you look at 5-10 years from now, kind of what are you thinking? What's the plans?
Oh, for me, just wait for an opportunity and grab onto that sucker by the horns, I think. Kind of in a hold pattern right now just to kind of see how things go and because
you're saying the industry's a little tight right now?
I mean, we got, some disease going around that's affecting the populations of the hogs and stuff, but there's just so much uncertainty right now. It's what is next? I don't know what's next for us. I think that honing in, this year, it's January 1st, right? You get a new shot. What are we doing? How do we be better? It's tax time. Hey, let's have an honest self-reflection. How'd we do? Legit. Like, damn, we didn't do very good there. So I think for us in the next couple of years is definitely honing in on the things that we can do better. Efficiency, retention, that kind of stuff. But it's also if the right opportunity strikes. In my business right now, there's just not a lot of growth going on. So there's no sense in talking about adding expansions with trucking or anything of that nature. I think in the game and the water that I swim in, a lot of those guys that have been doing it for 30 or 40 years are starting to kind of wonder what their next move is. So is there an opportunity there? I don't know.
Because in livestock trucking, it seems like there's more, especially compared to hoppers, like more larger fleet companies.
It's getting that way.
Yeah. I mean, hoppers, you still got, there's some decent ones running 10 plus, but like, if I look at like your operation by sea, there's a lot more of your style operations than the small 5 less.
I think that's America though. The small dealerships are gone, the banks, they're 10 branches, 20 branches, right? I think that's the way that it's going. And I catch myself wondering, like, too, and I'm not ready to retire, but what's my succession plan? I think so many of these guys, when you want to roll it back into a life model, you're going 100 miles an hour at growth, but then what? What are you doing? You missed all this shit for what? To take it to an auction and pay the IRS afterwards? I think that you got to have short-term, medium-term, long-term goals to better answer your question. We're not looking at growth. We're looking at, be better. How do we be better? How do we make sure that we're capitalizing everything we can capitalize. I tell my guys all the time, trucking is no different than fishing. There's one goal in fishing, that is to get the fish in the boat. When you stick the net in the water, you want the fish. You don't want the bullshit. You don't want the water in there. The fish is the only thing that matters. In trucking, fish is money. Get the money in the boat. Don't worry about the other stuff. You can go haul a $1,000 load and have one guy drive 55 mile an hour, 10 and 2 with the speed limit, or you can have one guy being badass driving 90. At the end of the day, who's making more money? Time is the only measurable currency we have out here. So capture, efficient, everything that we can get. And that's the way that the livestock industry is right now too. Feed efficiency, death loss, all that stuff. I think that what I feel, the temperature of the room is efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. What can we do more with less? Same thing, talking about diesel fuel, electricity, it doesn't matter. If we need to do more with less and be more efficient, reduce our carbon footprint, and kind of be looking out and see what happens there. But, ever since, I told somebody the other day, 2019, I think, was the last time that we probably could chalk it up as killed it in terms of finances. But, it's just been kind of since 2020.
Yeah.
And everybody, talk about podcasts, my friend group, the Wolf Pack. I got construction guys, equipment sales guys, all that. So you can really feel it, that everybody's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Kind of rough pickings. And it's no different in your world. Everybody's what's the lowest? What's the cheapest? What's the cheapest? Well, I can say that I'm the best, but I'm not going to be the cheapest. I can't. There's no way. So I'm going to let it sit. But in your world and your customers, they want it done cheap. They want a good job, but they want it done cheap. Well, you can't have both.
Yeah.
There's cheap, good, and fast. Which one you want? So it's just a different civilization. It's a different attitude. It's different people. And you got the next generation that came in. And I'll tell this as a dig to some of these people running these corporate companies. The people that started the everybody gets a trophy prize, that generation is now in leadership positions. And a lot of them too are in our business. So I hear this a lot, gotta be fair. What the fuck do you mean you gotta be fair? Like, you want me to be fair? I've had guys with me for 10, 12 years and they're loading beside a guy that just started yesterday with a truck that wouldn't pass a DOT inspection. What do you mean fair? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
the disconnect between on the ground, the warriors on the ground, and corporate is so large, it's insane. So how do we narrow that gap? I think you got to, burn that field of CRP before you can narrow that gap. And they get back and start asking questions to the guys that are in the trenches doing the work.
Dude, this was so good, man. I think I'm glad you answered my text yesterday when we were on our way up to visit Torque and Sawyer to be on their show. Yeah. And man, thanks for graciously taking your time to come out and see your farm operation, livestock, and then to see the trucking business. It's cool that, we're on the bulk side, you're on livestock, but it's trucking and growing a business and all the moves. It's so, it coincides, and which I think just makes this beautifully fit. So man, thank you very much. God bless you. Appreciate it.